some decades ago, and my uncle, who was a cardiologist, was one of them who looked at higher instances of hypertension in black men. That was some of the earliest studies that looked at the connection between, the societal factors impacting black men's lives and their heart health. And so this is just the latest. I think what's interesting is, this is one of those public health issues that really isn't a public health issue as we look at it. It's not anything that we've seen some big groundswell of support behind addressing. At some point, what do we need now? We have scientific proof over and over again. What do we need now for this to not be something that black people create on our own? It's not. It hasn't gone beyond that.
And Wilma, I think that the core makes a great point there. When I love when we have these issues of discussions of race, and you will hear whites say, "Look, times have changed, and I am just affected by things as you when it comes to finding a job, when it comes to advancement or whatever." And I always go back to, no, you don't understand what you deal with every day. You get to walk into a store and shop and don't even think about somebody's following you. Not only that, I'll use an example. It totally ticks me off, and now I understand physically what happens. It totally ticks me off when somebody says, "Oh, you went to Texas A&M, you play football?"
Yeah.
And so even those things, all that impacts in terms of how we feel internally.
Well, and I would correct or at least ask Dr. Che to consider, you use the term unfair treatment. It's not unfair treatment. Unfair treatment is when someone pulls in front of me and takes a parking space. When we're talking about racism, we're talking about getting to the core of an individual's humanity. And what we have faced since, we'll just use 1619 is when those first 20 and some odd indentured servants came off of that ship in Jamestown, is questioning the very fact of, are we in fact human? And when you have to deal with even understanding the basis of your humanity, that's much, much deeper, much more stressful than unfair treatment.
Dr. Che, final comment.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think one of the things that we had looked at in this study was not only racial discrimination, but also this concept of internalized racism. And we know that racism involves not only physical oppression, but also psychological oppression. And so what we found was it's not only racial discrimination, but racial discrimination in tandem with internalizing this racist ideology, which we know is not uncommon among marginalized groups. But these two things together impact aging at the cellular level. It's one of the more insidious consequences of racism, which people have not been paying too much attention to.
Well, absolutely. So we talk about things that are overt. When you talk about what is covert, what is happening now behind closed doors, this is even more covert because how it impacts us internally.
Absolutely, and that's the new that's the new contemporary racism that we see today. It's these subtle, ambiguous, chronic, everyday experiences of being treated unfairly.
Great study. We appreciate it, Doc. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, folks, coming up, the story of brave young African Americans during one of the nation's most challenging times.